Tony D and Little Joan and Guest Dog in the background. And this is a Screenwriter's Rant on Double Life, the trailer of a horror movie about a man leading a double life who is murdered, and his mistress and his wife have to figure out who killed him. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 11, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So, not a bad premise. Here you go, Joe. Come over here. Making trouble already. I just started the damn thing. Not a bad premise at all, because you've got two people who are from two different worlds, we'll say, and they have to solve the case. Now, I'm not sure why the mistress would be all that invested, but I guess because she didn't know he was married. She was maybe in love with him, and, you know, they've made these kinds of movies before, and I don't think it's a bad premise. I'm not sure of the execution on this one, though. They both seem a little, I don't know, they don't seem to have a ton of energy about the murder. Like, it just doesn't seem that intense. And the mistress turns into, like, the one who does all the kick-assery, right? She could shoot a gun and fight and do surveillance, like, and the wife asks her, well, how'd you learn to do all this? And she says, oh, an ex-boyfriend taught me all the cool stuff. What kind of boyfriend would teach you all that? It's kind of weird, right? It's a bit much. Like, okay, if you knew how to shoot a gun, you could see that. If you knew how to fight, maybe. Surveillance? Okay. Like, one of those would be believable. All three of them? Who was her boyfriend? The Equalizer? I mean, yeah, it doesn't seem very realistic. Maybe they should have given her a slightly different background. Like, she already knew some of those skills, and then the boyfriend taught her, like, an extra skill that she could use on this adventure. But again, it doesn't feel like the stakes are very high. Both the actors just seem to be, like, going through the motions. Written by Mike Hurst, directed by Martin Wood. And let's see. I don't recognize any of the actresses. So, I mean, it seems okay, though. Despite all that, it seems fine. May 5th on digital and select theaters. Like, they've done this before as a comedy. It works okay as a comedy because they can make fun of their ex, you know, and then they usually find out he's not really dead, because that's a bit of a downer. If you're going to make this serious, though, I think there's got to be a little more tension between the two women. You know? I think it has to be like they're really part of it, and this may be in the movie, but doesn't come across on the trailer. Like, part of it should be like, who did he really love? Because I think that would probably be more important to the women. Almost, or at least almost as important as finding out who killed him, because after somebody cheats on you, it kind of put them in a different place. I'm gonna imagine, right? You're kind of like, oh, you were an a-hole. Who gives a crap how you died? So there's that kind of elephant in the room here. But that being said, let me take a stab at the three acts. So first act, he's hanging out with his girlfriend, having a sexy time, heads home for the evening. But when he gets into his car after she goes back into the apartment, he puts on a wedding ring and calls his wife, and you realize, oh, this guy, He's banging two women at once. He's having an affair. So halfway home, he's telling his wife, "Oh, I'll be back." On the way home, though, he is run off the road and killed. During the early days of the investigation, it doesn't appear like anybody cares that he died. And they run into each other, I think, at the gravesite or the funeral. And they find out who each other are. And then they decide, well, we're going to find out who killed my husband and your boyfriend, because the cops won't do it. So they team up and they start this investigation. And then it turns out the girlfriend has tons of skills. And I don't know, I guess the wife is just some random housewife who kind of knows some things, I guess. I don't know what her skills are. It might have been nice to put that in the trailer to give them sort of a, why their team up is kind of cool. And then in the third act, they get in over their heads and someone tries to kill them, but girlfriend can kick their A, and then they find out the killers. A couple of problems, I think, though, with this particular execution. The guy who was killed was a DA. DAs aren't famous, but they're kind of known in their area. Some of them even have to run for office, I think, to get their position. But even if they don't, they tend to be in the news somewhat. At least their names. Sometimes their faces, and not for nothing, women use the internet to check you out. So you're telling me the girlfriend didn't check out, her boyfriend, the DA. Now, he might have lied about his job too, right? Okay. But he's a lawyer. I don't know. There's something wrong with that. I think the girlfriend probably should have known who he was. Now, it's possible she wouldn't have known he was married, but again, that's pretty easy to check. Especially with someone who's at least known locally. Bit of a hole in that plot. If he was unknown, or if the girlfriend was, I don't know, a little desperate. This seems to be like super hot chick. He leaves an apartment or house that looks really, really nice. So I'm thinking her character is a professional. So again, that just doesn't jive with how a professional dates. A professional especially would have done a little bit of digging on her boyfriend, just to know who the hell he was and if he was even serious. So I find it a little hard to believe that the girlfriend wouldn't have figured out that he was married. Kind of makes her stupid. As for the wife, well, that's possible, because it happens. People have affairs and they cover it up from their wives. And they can do that because they know their wives and the wives trust them. And sure, that's totally in that wheelhouse. DAs work very late. She knew who he really was. It's the problem with the other girl. Yeah, that doesn't really jive. But whatever. So I'm not sure. I like the premise of the movie. I'm not sure this execution's all that great. It's going direct to digital. No name stars. So, I like the premise. I would see the movie. Based on this execution, I'm a little wary. I wouldn't want to pay for this. If it was on TV, I might check it out. If it moved well. But judging from this trailer, I'm not super excited about. All right, so let's see what the write-up says. It doesn't have any kind of write-up. It's on Paramount, so I probably wouldn't say it. It dropped on movie coverage. It has 12,000 views and 134 upvotes. Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great ratio there. No downvotes, though. So, yeah, it's... I'm going to say the movie is probably watchable. It's probably okay. Probably like an episode of Law and Order, if you don't think too hard about it. I guess I wouldn't mind watching this movie, even with an execution that, and it's not a poor execution. I feel like it's just kind of lackluster. I'm kind of like not drawn in by the performances or anything. It doesn't seem to have cool shots and music or stunts. It just seems to be there, going through the motions. Yeah. So Double Life, drop into VOD near you, May 8th on digital. And that's it for me, Tony D, Little Joan, and guest dog Truffle. I'm not sure how long Truffle's going to be here. Anyhow, check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base takes. Check me out tomorrow for the live stream. The Sunday live stream, I'm moving it up to Saturday because of Easter. I got stuff to do, family stuff to do. You probably do too. So let's have a good time on Saturday at 7, and then we'll eat some Easter candy. And that's it. We'll see you